All right, let's talk about something that's a huge deal for front-end development right now, the release of Tailwind CSS version 4. We're going to break down all the groundbreaking new features and show you exactly how to put them to work inside a modern Next.js app. Okay, let's get into it.
But first, let's just start with this one simple question, because it really gets to the heart of what's changed. You know that feeling, jumping between your JavaScript config files and your style sheets? What if all that context switching just went away? What if your entire design system could live right inside your CSS? Well, that is the core promise of Tailwind 4.
So here's the game plan for today. We'll start with the big changes in Tailwind 4. Then we'll dive into the absolute game changer, the @theme directive. After that, we'll see how it all fits together perfectly with Next.js, build out some cool UI, and then wrap it all up with what your new styling workflow is going to look like.
Okay, let's just rip the Band-Aid off. The biggest, most talked about change in Tailwind 4, the one you'll notice right away, is that the tailwind.config.js file is gone. Yep, you heard that right. It's gone. All that configuration has moved out of JavaScript and directly into your CSS. And this right here, this just says it all. On the left, you've got the old way, all that nested JavaScript object ceremony. And now look at the right. That's the new way. A simple, clean CSS custom property inside a special @theme block. It just makes sense, and it keeps you where you want to be in your CSS file. But this isn't just about making things look prettier. Under the hood, Tailwind 4 is running on a completely new engine written in Rust, which they're calling Oxide. And the payoff? Your full builds are up to 5 times faster. That's not a small difference. That's a massive performance boost you're going to feel every single day. So let's just quickly recap the big hits here. You've got the super fast Oxide engine. You've got the new CSS-first config model. Oh, and get this, Tailwind now automatically finds your files, so you don't even have to manage that content array anymore. And to top it all off, it's built to embrace all the cool modern CSS stuff right from the get-go.
Okay, so how does this all work? Well, it all comes down to this one core idea, the @theme directive. This is basically your new headquarters, where your entire design system is going to live, right inside your CSS.
So what is @theme? It looks pretty normal, right? Like any other CSS @rule. But it's got this superpower. And here's the crucial part. When you define a variable inside of @theme, you're not just creating a CSS custom property. You're actually giving Tailwind a command. Hey, go and generate a whole suite of utility classes for me based on this value. That right there is the magic. Now this slide is so important to understand. If you define your dash color brand inside that @theme block, bam, Tailwind automatically creates classes for you like BG brand, text brand, border brand, the whole shebang. But if you define that exact same variable in a standard .root block, well, it's just a variable. No utility classes get made. Understanding this distinction is absolutely key. And the whole system is just beautifully predictable. Tailwind just looks at the prefix of your custom property to figure out what to do. If it starts with -color-, it knows to make color utilities. If it starts with -font-, it makes font utilities. -spacing- for spacing. You get the idea. This simple convention makes building out your theme incredibly intuitive. Okay, so we get how the new Tailwind works. Now, how does this fit into the Next.js world? Well, as it turns out, it slots in so perfectly it feels like they were made for each other. This is the modern styling stack. And a huge part of this perfect fit is Next Font. If you're using Next.js, you should absolutely be using this. It's their amazing built-in way to handle fonts. It automatically downloads and self-hosts them, which is great for performance, but the real killer feature is that it completely gets rid of that ugly layout shift when fonts are loading. And here is the secret sauce for making it work seamlessly with Tailwind. When you're using Next/font, you have to use the variable option. Instead of just applying a class to your body tag, this option actually exposes your font as a CSS custom property, which sounds exactly like what our new Tailwind setup is looking for, doesn't it? And the process to hook it all up is dead simple. Just 3 steps. First, in your layout.tsx file, load your fonts using that all-important variable option. Second, and this is the new part, in your globals.css, you use a special directive called @theme_inline. This lets you take an existing CSS variable, like the one from Next Font, and tell Tailwind, hey, treat this like one of my theme tokens. It bridges the gap. And third, you just start using your new classes, like font sans, anywhere you want. It's that seamless. But let's be real. Utility classes can't solve every single problem. So here's the game plan. Use Tailwind for like 90% of your work, all your layout, colors, typography, all that stuff. But for those really tricky edge cases, like complex pseudo-elements or styling a third-party library you can't touch, that's when you reach for CSS modules. They provide those locally scoped classes that play perfectly alongside Tailwind.
All right, enough theory. Let's move on from all the configuration and setup and get to the fun part. How do we actually use this new stack to build a real modern user interface?
Let's start with dark mode. Instead of some option in a config file, you now define your dark mode right in your CSS using add custom variant. Then, you build a simple component to toggle a class on your HTML element. But, and this is super important, the final step is adding a tiny inline script to your root layout. This prevents that annoying flash of wrong theme before your React app even loads. It's a much cleaner solution.
With this foundation in place, building reusable components is just a dream. You can create a button component that takes simple props like variant and size. Now, inside the component, you map those props to long, complex strings of Tailwind utilities. But for anyone using your component, all they see is a clean, simple, and beautiful API.
And you can totally mix and match. Check out this card component. It uses Tailwind for all the basic styling, the padding, the borders, the background colors, but for a more complex hover effect that uses a .after pseudo-element, it just pulls in a small, scoped CSS module. This is that best of both worlds approach in action.
So let's just zoom out for a second and look at the big picture. This combination of tools really does create a brand new styling workflow. One that's just fundamentally simpler, way faster, and it keeps everything you need all in one place. So, if you remember anything from this, remember these key things. First, your CSS is now your config file, all thanks to @theme. Second, development is going to feel blazing fast because of that new Oxide engine. Third, Next/font plus @theme inline is the perfect solution for fonts. Fourth, embrace the hybrid approach. Use Tailwind for almost everything and CSS modules for the exceptions. And finally, modern dark mode is handled so elegantly with @custom variant. And all of this leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought. As we're watching this powerful trend of configuration, theming, and styling all come back home to CSS, what does that mean for the future of all the JavaScript in CSS solutions that have been so popular for the last decade? It really feels like a massive paradigm shift, and it's going to be fascinating to see where it all leads. Thanks for tuning in.